Welcome to Yin. We're going to get started on our backs in our corpse pose, extending arms and legs long, turning the palms to face the ceiling, and letting the weight of the body settle to the floor. As we get heavy here, start to notice the sensations of your physical body, muscles, bones, ligaments, tendons. What's touching the ground right now? How does that feel? Start to deepen and slow down the breath cycle. Work to come to the top of each inhale and the bottom of each exhale, trying to squeeze everything out at the bottom to make space for full, complete inhales. You'll notice that there is no bottom. There's always a little bit more we could have exhaled, the tidal breath. Does that make the inhale feel passive as the lungs equalize the pressure with the room before using effort to come up to the tippy top? Notice your emotional body here, your feelings. Do you feel them in the belly, head, chest, or muscles? Where are you feeling your feelings right now? Finally, we'll move to a three-part breath, our yogic breath. Expanding the belly, ribs, and chest up to the tippy top, and exhaling to reverse, chest sinks, ribs sinks, belly sinks, down to the bottom. Trying to squeeze everything out at the bottom of the exhale to make space for full, complete inhales. Think of these breaths like ocean waves coming into the shore, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale back out to sea, chest, ribs, belly. Observing your thoughts here, your mental body. Are they flowing easily, rushing around, spiraling, or obsessing on a single topic or thought? Maybe even finding stillness. How does it feel inside of your skin, meeting the ground? When you're ready, we're going to set up our first pose, a simple twist. Bending our knees and dropping them over to the right. Move the feet away from the buttocks so that we have a 90-degree angle, torso to lower legs, 90 degrees thighs to torso. 90 degrees torso to thighs, 90 degrees thighs to lower legs. Extending the arms long off of the shoulders. You can also bend the elbows if that makes you more comfortable, or rest the right hand on the left thigh. Finding your breath cycle again. We'll review our three tenets of Yin. The first tenet of Yin is that we need to find the edge of each pose, the place where we can hang out without a need to fidget or shift, which is about 80% of our max. If we go too deep, then we'll have to come out of the pose, so we'll be losing the benefit of the shape. We need to find the place where we can hang out. Our second tenet of Yin is releasing the muscle tension, letting the body get heavy, so that the weight of the body is what pulls us deeper into the pose. We want the muscles to be relaxed, or we won't be able to work with the fascia. Will be prevented because the muscles will be in tension. And finally, every pose is held for a length of time. We're here for minutes and not moments. All right, we're going to change our simple twist and we're going to move it into a lateral twist. So we're going to extend the legs out into an L shape. Now, if you need to, you can cross that left ankle with the right ankle so that the left leg stays stacked on top of the right leg even when the legs are relaxed. Extending the arms might involve bending the elbows. Again, the right hand can rest on the left thigh if that feels okay for you. Breathe deep, full breath cycles, expanding the belly to the tippy top and exhaling as close as you can get to the bottom. You'll notice that there is no bottom to the exhale. We can always exhale a little bit more. Notice that this twist is not very twisty. You're not feeling very much in the guts or the spine, but you might be feeling this up the love handle or into the low belly. We're going to take this a little bit deeper still. Splitting our legs and the right leg to the end of the mat. The left leg is drawn across the body. We have a K shape to the lower legs. The arms might extend. You can rest the right hand on the left thigh if you'd like. Notice where you feel this in the guts or the spine. Notice what you're feeling in the left hip, thigh, or buttock. Coming back into center slowly. Extend both legs long on the mat and align the body with your spine to reverberate. This is where we receive the benefits of the pose, and we want to do it in stillness in a neutral position. Waiting for our reverberation to complete might be a hot or cold sensation, temperature change, energy moving through you, a tingling or electricity. Maybe you just feel very old or fragile, like you could break apart or shatter. When you feel like your body has received the pose completely is when we can take any back and forth motions, counter stretches, or next poses. If I start moving before you're ready, simply wait. Missing a few moments of a long held pose is not a big deal. Skipping reverberation would be a big deal. When you feel ready to do it, we'll bend the knees and drop them over to the left. Moving the feet away from the buttocks again, we have that 90-degree angle, thighs to lower legs and thighs to torso. Do the arms extend long for you or do the elbows bend? Does the left hand feel better resting on the right thigh? Find the arm variation that helps you settle to your simple twist. Coming back to the breath cycle, checking in with those breath cycles. Make sure they're inhaling and exhaling, breathing without a pause at the top or the bottom. Keeping the breath cyclical holds the mind here in this moment, preventing it from wandering off to tell stories or put labels on things like this is suffering or I don't like this, preventing you from abandoning yourself in the pose. From our simple or basic twist, we'll take this to a lateral twist by extending the legs. When we find that L shape to the body, again, the left hand might rest on the right thigh. The right ankle can cross with the left ankle if that's what's keeping the legs together when you relax. Notice what sensations have left the spine or the guts, and if there's a sensation in the love handle or the low belly. How has the pose changed by extending the legs? Taking this a little bit deeper, we're going to split the legs into the K shape. The right leg stays up, the left leg goes to the end of the mat. You can rest the left hand on the right thigh if you'd like. It's okay if the right shoulder peels up off the ground. You can be teeter-tottering, it's fine, as long as you're soft. Notice what the sensations have been that changed since we moved from the lateral twist. Do you feel more in the spine or the guts? What's going on inside of your skin? Releasing this deep twist back to center line, align the body with your spine to reverberate. Wait for the sensations to subside completely before you take any back and forth motions, counter stretches, or move into the next pose. When you're ready, we're going to bring this up for a seated position, our caterpillar. Caterpillar is the yin version of a seated forward fold. So the legs are extended long, but the feet are not flexed, the knees are not flexed. They're relaxed. They might point out, they might roll in. What matters is that they're relaxed for you. Bringing the chin down to the chest, we're going to drop ourselves forward like we're a scared little caterpillar trying to curl up into a ball. Let the face relax, let the cheeks rise up towards the eyes. Feel free to move the arms to where the arms need to go so that the shoulders stay relaxed. If you find yourself sinking, that means they might need to be walked forward. Feel for the effort of the breath cycle. The inhales and exhales mean that you're working at a high cost to inflate. Think of this as work for the diaphragm. Bring the chin closer to the chest. The sensation down the back side of the body might be a nice even stretch from the base of the skull to the tailbone. If not, if you're feeling a bunch of sensation like a hot spot, that means you've just got more fascia there in that area that needs to get pulled out before you feel it as an even stretch. This is the process. Hanging out and breathing. Bring your chin a little closer to the chest. Relax your face. Keep your chin down to the chest. Don't let it lift up. Just a little further. Keep checking in to make sure the chin is down to the chest. Otherwise, it will try to lift up when you're not paying attention. Carefully unfurl your body from your seated forward fold, your caterpillar. We're going to lay this down again to reverberate, to give our spine a break. Wait for that sensation to subside before you rejoin for the next pose. Again, if I start moving before you're ready, just wait and join when you're ready. We're going to continue with the spine, and we're going to take it to a back bend next. We're going to take a Sphinx pose. So when you're ready to come up to seated, we are going to take a clasp of opposite elbows underneath the shoulders. So coming down to the belly, getting the arms to clasp opposite shoulders. Once you get this set up, we're going to sink the upper body. We're going to soften at the waist. We're going to unclench the buttocks where the pose really gets real, is when you unclench those buttocks. Let the legs get heavy to the mat. Let the toenails pull you down into the earth. Breathing here, notice what has clenched up immediately in the hips, waist, and buttocks the moment your mind wandered away, and see if you can convince it to soften again. Use the breath cycle. Notice if there's anything you're breathing gingerly around, anything that you're afraid to inflate against fully. You can stay with your chin lifted. You can drop your head. How's your breath? Is it still deep and full? If not, congratulate yourself for noticing that before you deepen it. Human beings, all animals, only learn through positive reinforcement. We cannot berate ourselves to greatness. So making it a positive experience to notice what the breath cycle is like gives us even a chance of keeping those breath cycles full and deep. Just a little further. We're almost there. Letting yourself down from this pose. We'll just come down to the belly. You can bring your hands back by the hips, palms up, and turn whatever side of your face down to the mat sounds good for you. When your body has received that, we're going to set this up for half of a dragonfly and half of a child's pose. So, let's set up the child's pose half with the dragonfly before we fold this over. So I'm going to start with my child's pose right leg. I've got my foot underneath my buttock, and I'm going to extend my left leg out long. Now my seat is already down to my feet, so I've already got my butt on my heel. We're going to fold forward from here and walk the arms out into child's pose with half of a dragonfly. Let the forehead find the mat or reach for the mat as the arms extend. and look for tension that might be held in the body that you can relax. Carefully. We're going to release this pose. Maybe you prefer to reverberate sitting up. Maybe you reverberate in a laying down position. Find the place where your body will receive that fully. If you notice when you come out of a pose that your breath is jagged or ragged, as if you had been crying, that's just a sign that you were particularly deep into that pose. So that's just a notification from your body that you were very deep and that pose has been released. We're going to set up the second side. I'm going to start moving. Again, you just can wait if you're not ready to move. I'm going to sit on my left foot. So I've got my left side child pose, seat to feet. I'm going to send my right leg out into our dragonfly. All right, so already my butt is on my heel. Seat to feet first, folding down from there. Arms walk out. Forehead is on the mat or reaching for the mat as we settle. Look for places that need your help softening and compare the left and right sides. Carefully releasing this. Again, decide if it makes sense for your body to lay down or to sit up in order to reverberate. Our next pose might involve some props. So while you're reverberating, I'm going to talk about the next pose. We're going to do half of a saddle pose. Half of a saddle pose is pulling on the body kind of a lot, so you might need a blanket. One foot is going to be underneath you. And as you lay back, it's going to create an ankle stretch. So if the ankle or the top of the foot isn't going to like that, you can put a blanket underneath the top of the foot in order to pad that ankle and alleviate some of the stretch. If this is going to be a lot for your knee, if your knee is not going to like this pose, you can take a blanket or a towel and roll it up and stick it behind your knee so that when you fold the knee back, it prevents the knee from closing fully. So that is also an option to modify this. The third place that you might want to add a prop for this is behind you. If laying back into this pose creates too much sensation for you, you can get a bolster, which might just be some cushions off the couch, might be all the cushions off the couch, maybe a couple pillows from the bed. You can put this bolster or these pillows behind you, and so that when you lay back, you are lifted up off of the ground. It is okay if your layback is just barely laying back, as long as you're supported in it, so that you can be in a yin state where we are relaxed. We're not using muscles. So I'm going to start with my right leg. The right foot might be directly under the buttock, or it might be off to the side a little bit. Your body's going to probably decide that for you. Laying this back with or without props, we're going to find half of a saddle. So in half saddle, you'll notice that my right knee lifted up when I lay back. That's okay. If you don't like that, maybe that means you need to push more things behind you. If you do let the knee come up, it might slowly soften back down to the ground as we hang out in this pose. You can have the arms long off the shoulders. You can rest them on the belly. You can also interlace the fingers and take them behind the head and let the elbows drop open. If the elbows are dropping open, presumably there's no sensation to that. It should just be comfortable. However, if you're feeling a lot of sensation in that, if you're feeling those shoulders get pulled on, or sensation between the shoulder blades, this might be something you need to do more often. We should be able to let the elbows drop open and not feel this. And if you are feeling it, it just means that you need to do this more often and for longer until you stop feeling that. Check in with your breath. Slow it down and deepen it. Releasing our half saddle pose might involve sitting up for you, or it might involve rolling off to one side. We have to get that folded under leg out from underneath us and allow ourselves to reverberate the pose. So find out if it makes sense to roll to one side or to sit up, and then find your neutral position to receive. Notice what the sensations are like after our half saddle. When you're ready to set up the second side, I'm going to come up to seated and I'm going to fold my left foot underneath me. Maybe that involves a blanket underneath the top of the foot. Maybe it involves a wadded up or rolled up blanket or towel behind the knee. Maybe you need a bolster or multiple cushions behind you in order to create the back bend of the fold backwards. When you feel ready to do it, we're going to lay this back. Again, if the knee lifting up doesn't make you happy, that might mean that you need more props. But if the knee lifting up doesn't bother you, it might slowly settle to the floor. Do your hands want to rest on your belly? Do they want to come off the shoulder? You want to interlace them and bring them behind the head. Come back to your breath cycle. We're about halfway through the hold on this side. Compare it to the sensations on the first side. What about the first half of the pose? What is your exit strategy on the second side? Do you need to sit up? Do you need to roll off to one side? How are you going to get out of your half saddle so that you can reverberate the difference? We're going to be seated next for our neck and shoulder stretches. You're going to want a strap or whatever you're using for a strap. That can simply be a length of fabric. It's just a way to extend the arms. And I'm going to recommend but not require sitting on blocks. I have a nice wide seat. I like a nice wide seat, so I'm going to put my blocks end to end. We're going to attempt to do an adducts pose. Let me move back just a little bit so you can see more of me. All right, so an adducts pose is where the bottom leg is parallel to the top of the mat and the top foot goes on that calf. And I think I'm going to start with my right leg on top rather than my left. All right, so the foot's just on the calf. We're not trying to get it over to the knee. We're just trying to get it over to the calf. The knees might drop open fully here. Once you have this set up, find your strap. Taking a wide grip to the strap. Wider grip is easier, narrow grip is harder. We're going to inhale up and exhale behind you. Inhale up and exhale forward. If your elbows are bending, widen your grip. If you don't feel anything here, narrow your grip. Moving at the pace that feels right for your shoulders. Shoulder flossing is personal. You might go faster than me. You might go slower than me. I only care that you get the shoulder flossing done. Ending with the strap behind you when you're ready, we're going to let go with one hand. The hand with the strap is going to come behind the head. The free hand finds the strap and pulls it to the side, so it's like you're the world's worst archer taking a shot at the sky, sitting tall. Breathe as the top shoulder gets pulled behind the head. Switching. We will not even have to move the hands. The arms will do it. Find the other side. Compare the second shoulder to the first shoulder. Now the far hand is going to let go of the strap and find the strap behind you. Pulling down this time, lift the chin. Find out how the top tricep feels about this shoulder stretch. Using the top arm to pull the bottom arm up the back, let out any extra strap at the top that makes the top arm feel happy. For me, being able to stretch my top arm straight feels better. The bottom hand is pulled up between the shoulder blades. We're feeling that bottom shoulder in the front part. Notice how that is going for you. And then we're going to switch. Let the top hand release the strap. The bottom arm is going to come behind the head and drop the strap behind you. The free hand finds that strap and pulls down. Chin lifts up, and we're in tricep number 2. How does that compare to tricep number 1? We're switching, using the top hand, pull the bottom hand up between the shoulder blades. Again, if it helps to let out straps so that the top arm straightens, feel free to do that. The bottom arm is the one with the sensation here. It's the one that's getting pulled up between the shoulder blades. And then we will carefully release the strap. Bring the shoulders up to the ears for a nice tight squeeze. Inhale. Exhale, drop them down. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, drop them down. One more time. Lock it all the way up to the back of the neck or the head as tight as you can. A little bit tighter. And then exhale, release. All right, we're going to fold over our legs. So if you are on blocks like I am, you're going to pull them out from underneath you. And if you'd like, if you're not ready to lay long and flat over the mat, you're going to use the blocks for assistance. So you can have the blocks for your arms, your forearms. You can use them for your elbows. You can use the blocks for your forehead or for your chin. The blocks have multiple levels. Feel free to drop to the level that feels right for you. Getting the upper body to take some weight might mean the lower body feels a little bit more trusting of this process. Eventually, we could lay out long and flat over our legs in front of us, forehead to the ground, but I'm not there yet. So if you're not there yet either, we're just breathing where we are in our practice. Just a little bit further. Sink down as often as your body feels like it's inviting you to do so. And we're going to carefully release. Now, do not forget which leg was on top. For me, it was my right leg. We're going to separate those legs, and you're noticing I'm helping my legs do it. My legs are nice and relaxed. I don't want them to tense up. Side edges of the mat. And then we're going to finagle, there's no better word for this, finagle the fingers into the hips, facing backwards. So that elbows come forward on the inside of the thighs. The fingers point backwards behind us. And then using your legs, you're going to pull the elbows in together. You're only going to take it as deep as feels appropriate. We're not going to force anything. We're just going to breathe here with some internal rotation. The amount of internal rotation is up to you and your shoulders. Not too much further, just a little bit. You don't want to spend very long here. We just want to make sure we're internally rotating the shoulders as well. All right, let's go ahead and carefully let that go. Give your arms a little break. We are going to set up the second half of that pose. So we had our seated posture with the right leg on top. We're going to see the posture with the other leg on top. So if you had opposite knee, that's fine. I just want to make sure that you don't do the same side twice. If it feels easy and natural, you're doing the same side again. It should feel just as bad the second time, maybe even worse than the first time. So I'm going to make sure my bottom leg is parallel to the top of the mat, and I'm going to put the top foot on top of that calf. So I'm not trying to make it to the knee. I'm just putting it on the calf. This is adept's pose, not double pigeon. Once you get here, we're going to stretch our necks. We're going to drop the right ear down. We're going to reach the left fingers for the floor. We're going to let the right hand find the side of the head. Sit tall and breathe. The left side of the neck is lengthening for us. And then letting go of the side of the head. Let the head rock. You can look over that right shoulder or turn the chin up and down. We're exploring the left side of the neck. Turn the left palm up. What does that change? Wrap the left arm around the back for the right hip. What does that change? Bring the gaze into the right armpit and bind the right hand with the corner of the head. Releasing the look over the two shoulders. Reset the neck. It'll be a little tender. And then the left ear drops down. The right fingers find the floor. Letting the left hand find the side of the head. The elbow is heavy. Breathe. We're feeling the right side of the neck extend and lengthen for us. Sit tall in the spine. Letting go of the side of the head. Let the head rock on the left. Look over the left shoulder. Turn the chin up and down. Find out what the answers are like here. Right palm turns to the sky. Right arm wraps around the back for the left hip. Gazing into the left armpit, left hand binds the head. Releasing, look over the two shoulders, reset. And then we'll drop the chin down to the chest. Interlacing the fingers for the back of the head, sit tall in the spine, breathe into the belly. This will intensify what you feel between the shoulder blades. Releasing the fingers, let the head drop back. The mouth just opens to hang the way that it does. Using your shoulders to lift the head back up. Drop the chin down and pick a direction to roll the head in. You're looking for anything you missed, anything that needs more attention or love from you. Rock back and forth. Get it to release. The next time the chin makes it all the way down to the bottom, pause and switch your direction. Notice if the answers are different in the other direction without judging that they're different in the other direction. Being able to observe without judgment is a skill. We are skill building here. When the chin makes it down to the bottom, we'll pause. And if you're sitting on blocks like I am, pull them out. We'll fold over our legs. Do you want to use the blocks to support your forearms, your elbows, your chin? Find the fold forward that works for you. Don't let the shoulders crawl at the back of the neck. Pull them down. Carefully release this. Helping your legs apart. Maybe you need to lay all the way down to reverberate. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's where I'm going to go. Find the place that helps your body receive the changes we've made so far. All right, So rather than taking a lunge on one side and then the other, we're going to go with a reclined double lunge, which you might also recognize as Happy Baby. So this is the Yin version of Happy Baby, which is stirrup pose. We're going to bend those knees and draw the feet up towards the sky. We're going to reach up and grab a hold of those feet. That can be to the ankles, that can be the outer blades of the feet. We can take a big toe lock if we want. The knees stay generally over the rib cage. So we're not letting the knees go super wide here. They're just generally over the ribs. The outer edge of the ribs is fine. The soles of the feet face the ceiling, even if that means that the knees are not as bent as you thought they were going to be. It is all right that the low back rolls up off of the ground here. We are soft to this, so we're not trying to flex the bottom down like we do in a vinyasa or hatha yoga. Let the belly expand deeply between the thighs, expanding it with those inhales, unclenching the teeth. Surrender any tension of the buttocks or the backs of the legs. What kind of effort is involved with complete breath cycles here? As we approach the end of this pose, think about what this pose felt like when we started. Think about what it feels like when you do lunges, what it feels like when you take a Happy Baby in a vinyasa or hatha practice. How is this pose different and how is it the same? Releasing the feet one at a time, allow them to find the mat and the legs to extend. Reverberating what's changed after your Happy Baby or saddle pose. We're going to find some of my favorite movements or poses. We're going to do a sleeping dog next. Take your time reverberating. I'm going to talk about how we're going to prop our sleeping dog. So sleeping dog, you're going to want blocks. And these blocks are going to go in your hips. If you are a girl, the blocks are going to go like this. If you are a boy, the blocks are going to go like this for anatomical purpose. So I prefer these blocks back from the middle of the mat a bit so that I have extra room, because in this pose the arms are extended long and I like my elbows on my mat and not on the floor. So if that's you too, maybe you pull the blocks back a little bit from the end or from the middle of your mat so you have a little bit more room at the top of your mat. We're going to lay on these blocks, so we're going to find our bellies and we're going to put the blocks in the hips. So it's like a downward facing dog that is slid all the way to the floor and gone to sleep. Again, those arms are extended long and the elbows are not bent, they're straight. We're going to turn the one side of the face down. It doesn't matter which one you start with, we're going to do them both. So turn one side of the face down. You will discover one side of your neck is the tight side, one side is the loose side. Try not to judge that, just observe without judging. Once you get yourself settled here, relax the buttocks, the belly, let the belly hang down, let the backs of the legs relax. Let yourself surrender to this back bend that is supported from the underneath. Carefully pick up your head and turn the opposite side of your face down. Once you've done that, you'll probably have to relax the backs of the legs, the buttocks, and the belly again, all of which probably clenched up the moment you picked up your head. Carefully reach down and pull the blocks out from underneath you. Letting yourself turn whatever side of the face down that you like. Palms are up to the sky, down by the hips. Reverberate the changes we've made from our sleeping dog pose. Hopefully that pose felt pretty good. We have one more pose to do on our way to Shavasana, and if you are a regular student with me, this is no No mystery what pose that's going to be. It is block tuck to Shavasana. I consider block tuck and sleeping dog, the one we just did, to be sister poses. And if one of these poses feels a lot better to you than the other one, when you do these poses at home, maybe you do that order. So whichever one feels the best should be the one that you do second. But going into Shavasana, block tuck makes the most sense. So that's what we're going to set up. So we are going to lay down. We're going to lift our bottoms up, and we're going to put this block underneath the bottom third of the bottom, so that when you extend the legs over this block, you should feel the block touching the tops of the backs of the thighs. It is nowhere near your waistband, and if it's near your waistband, move it down. You should be feeling it touching the tops of the backs of your thighs. That's how low on your buttocks this block is. So once you get that set up, we are just setting up on the way to corpse pose. We will end up in corpse pose from here, but first we have to settle onto this block. We're looking for sensations in the tummy that let us know that we're settling on the block, and it might feel like a heavy or dropping sensation as the intestines fall away from the wall of the abdominals. You might find the internal organs sliding up inside of you because of the inversion, the hips being higher than the heart. It's not a headstand, but the hips are lifted here, so you might feel that sensation of the sliding. You might feel your dinner or lunch start moving around. You might feel your digestion starting up. So if those sensations are happening, it's happening because it feels like you are ready to pull the block out. So we're just going to wait for a little bit longer on this block before we pull the block. But those are some tummy sensations we might be paying attention to that are giving us the hints that we might be softening to the block. When you feel like you have surrendered on this block fully, we're going to pull it out and set up a true corpse pose. Pulling the block will make it feel like your bottom fell into a hole. Hopefully, that helps you surrender to your corpse pose completely. Let any remaining tension of the shoulders run down the arms and out of the fingers. That's why the palms face the ceiling when we're in corpse pose. Lets the shoulder joints get open. Release the buttocks. Let any tension run down the legs and out of the toes. Let your spine pull you heavy to the ground. Release your breath work. Come back to the natural rhythmic cycle of your daily life. Remind yourself that there's nothing left to do, that no one needs anything from you, that there is no one that you need to be. This is only yoga. As you're ready to do it, we'll carefully wiggle fingers and toes, bringing energy back into the body. Noticing how you feel and comparing that to how you felt when we started. What's touching the ground now? How is it different? We'll take the arms high overhead in the morning stretch. Squeeze it all in tight. And then bring the knees to the chest for a hug, giving yourself a nice tight squeeze, thanking yourself for practicing. And then rolling to your favorite side for transition and rebirth. When you do things from the heart, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. Ruby. When you feel ready, push yourself to seated, crossing legs, stacking the bones of the spine. We'll inhale, draw the arms high overhead, allowing the palms to touch, and then exhale them down to heart center. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. My blessing upon you. We are complete. Namaste.